Achoo! Hi guys, this is Tabiasobi, and Today, well, the Monster Hunter World Iceborne beta is finally out, and everyone and their mom is swarming into Hoarfrost Reach to battle the new monsters. Just check YouTube and you'll see a host of hunting videos featuring Banbaro, T-Rex, and even Beatotus, who's not technically listed as one of the beta monsters, but can still be encountered in Iceborne's new snowy environs. And then there's me. Wait till they get a load of me. Instead of going ahead on a hunt, I've actually spent my first few hours in the new training area checking out the new gear and weapons. Fundamentals, baby. And yes, there's actually a new training area, which you will get a notice about when you select training from the menu. Now, you might be wondering at first, what's exactly new with the training area the first time you enter, as the basic layout essentially remains the same, with the familiar training post and barrels littered about. Was this false advertising? If you talk to the training area housekeeper, however, you will be asked if you want to change the objects in the area. Why yes, my furry feline friend. Change the objects, por favor. Yeah, so you'll see the layout change, and the first thing you'll notice is this oversized chuck wagon in the middle. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Clutch Claw time, baby. Anyway, let's get along, little doggies, and start indulging in some Slinger and Clutch Claw action. Naturally, I started with my favorite weapon, the heavy Bowgun. I then proceeded to confuse myself because I couldn't figure out how to use the Clutch Claw with my Bowgun drawn. I mean, it says hold the L2 left trigger, then press circle, but that's the exact same action for loading special ammo. What the heck? What's going on? Eventually, I found out that you actually need to click the R3 analog stick to toggle between the Bowgun controls and Slinger controls while your weapon is unsheathed. I almost said sheathed. Unsheathed. Your weapon's out. Thank goodness for reading comprehension. In fact, you'll need to toggle with R3 when using other weapons that can shoot projectiles, like the light Bowgun, bow, and even the insect glaive. In contrast, you can go straight to pressing the L2 left trigger for pure melee weapons like the greatsword and the hammer. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, it's time for some Slinger and Clutch Claw action. Now the base Slinger mechanics are essentially the same. You just go ahead and press the L2 left trigger and then press the R2 right trigger to fire the ammo that you have equipped. For the Clutch Claw, you will also need to press the L2 left trigger, but fire it off by pressing circle. I believe that would be the B button for Xbox users. Yeah man, just hang in there, Xbox and PC players. Your time to shine, or get abused by T-Rex just like everyone else, will surely come. Anyway, once you fire off the Clutch Claw, you will be able to grapple the monster, provided it's in a state where you can grapple it. Sometimes it'll shake you off, so it's not something you can just abuse. Anyway, once you're attached to the monster like a koala on a eucalyptus tree, you have several options. Tilting the left directional stick allows you to reposition yourself, just like when you're mounting a monster. This is good if you want to target a specific body part, especially when using heavy weapons that can soften a monster's anatomy, like the greatsword or the heavy Bowgun. Yes, that's definitely a heavy weapon. I mean, if the slow walk you do while caressing a heavy Bowgun between your biceps wasn't a dead giveaway, the weapon's name is about as obvious a hint as you can get. It says heavy, right there. Speaking of attacking the body part you're clinging onto, you do that by pressing the triangle on the PlayStation and I assume the Y button on the Xbox. Like I mentioned earlier, attacking a body part with a heavy weapon will soften it so it receives more damage. Using a light weapon like the light Bowgun, meanwhile, will cause the monster to drop Slinger ammo. In the case of the practice dummy in the training area, that would be 3 bomb pods. Pressing the circle or B button, meanwhile, allows you to spank the monster hard, like it's been a very, very, very bad boy. This will change the direction that it's facing, preferably toward a very, very hard, immovable obstacle. See, provided you've got Slinger ammo equipped, you can press the R2 right trigger to unload it all on the monster and send it hurtling forward in a panic. If it happens to hit a big, beautiful wall, you will then be able to knock it down for some free hits. Even a stone will work, so just make sure you have Slinger ammo equipped. The other option is to press X or the A button, and this will let you cancel the claw mount and drop down to the ground. By the way, you will also drop down automatically if you run out of stamina or if a monster shakes you off. In the meantime, let's take a look at the various Slinger and Clutch Claw mechanics for the different weapons. Let's start with the greatest, bestest, heavy ranged weapon in the game, the Heavy Bowgun. I mean, it's the only heavy ranged weapon in the game, so I'm not exactly going out on a limb here. Actually, there isn't much to say about the Heavy Bowgun Slinger and Clutch Claw mechanics. Besides its own unique mounting attack and the ability to fire Slinger ammo, you really don't get additional Slinger mechanics like some of the other weapons do. It's a bit of a bummer, but that's how life goes sometimes. Next is another one of my favorite weapons in the series, the Light Bowgun. First, here's a look at its unique Clutch Claw mounting attack. Now, like its heavy counterpart, it doesn't have a unique Slinger move either. So as a bonus, I'll just show off its new Evading Reload and Wyvern Blast counter mods. Me like. Rounding out the ranged weapons is the bow, which I, oddly enough, don't use as much, despite calling myself a gunner main for most of the Monster Hunter series. One day, I'm going to get with the program and use this weapon more. In the meantime, here's what its Clutch Claw mounting attack looks like, which will cause the monster to drop Slinger ammo. Unlike the Bowguns, the bow gets its own unique Slinger attack called 1000 Dragons. Basically, make sure you're in Slinger mode with your weapon out, then press triangle and circle together, or Y and B for Xbox, and you will use all your Slinger ammo to fire a multi-hit attack. You can still use it without Slinger ammo, but the attack power will be reduced. Now onward to my favorite melee weapon, the Insect Glaive. First, here is its new Clutch Claw mounting attack.
Some Slinger ammo.
This weapon allows you to buff your bug effects with the Slinger ammo by pressing the L2 or left trigger, and then triangle plus circle, which once again is Y and B on the Xbox. If you use Slinger ammo that you picked up on the field, you will get a spirit charge that increases your bug stamina and the duration of the double up or triple up buffs when combining the red, white, and orange extracts. Is it orange or yellow? I guess it depends on your TV display. Now, if you use ammo dropped by a monster, your Kinsect's attack power will actually increase, and the intervals between its powder attacks will be shortened. So yeah, more power, more powder, like Metabots. Except with more powder too. What am I even talking about? Speaking of Kinsect quality of life additions, using the new descending thrust, which you can do by pressing the R2 trigger while airborne, makes your bug automatically collect the essence of the part you hit. Nice-oo. Now for my next favorite close-range weapon, the Greatsword. Here is its unique Clutch Claw mounting attack, which can soften a body part since it is a heavy weapon. Yeah, just walk around while the weapon's drawn. You'll see just how heavy it is. By the way, if you manage to land a true charge on a body part that has been softened, the second attack will do more damage. Yeah, we all love more damage. The Greatsword's unique Slinger mechanic allows you to press the L2 left trigger in the middle of a combo to do a Slinger burst and fire Slinger ammo to potentially flinch a monster. This is great as it lets you continue your combo afterward, giving you an extra option to land those slow but powerful charge attacks. By the way, another great thing about this that I noticed is that using the Slinger burst lets you go straight to the true charge right away, so you can hit the enemy with a quick sword attack, do a Slinger burst, and then immediately transition to a true charge. That's just excellent. Excellent, excellent. Because one excellent is not enough. Anyway, I'm showing the longsword next because its Slinger mechanic is a bit similar to the Greatsword in a way. Before that though, here is its unique Clutch Claw mounting attack. So the longsword also gets a Slinger burst just like the greatsword that you can then use in the middle of a spirit combo to potentially interrupt a monster and then continue your combo where it left off. By the way, check out the new special sheath, which you can do by pressing the R2 right trigger and then X or A. You can then hit triangle or Y to do an EI slash to fill your spirit gauge, or you can hit the R2 right trigger to use up 1 gauge and then launch an EI spirit slash. Does that look cool or what? Up next we have the Sword and Shield. Here is what its special Clutch Claw attack looks like. The Sword and Shield, by the way, also requires clicking down the R3 or right analog stick in order to switch between the regular Slinger ammo shots versus a Slinger burst. The Sword and Shield also has a special Clutch Claw move where you can press the L2 left shoulder trigger while evading and you will end up jumping into the air and attacking with your Clutch Claw, which is great for grabbing monsters that are above you. Next up are the dual blades. Here is what a Clutch Claw attack looks like when using the weapon. The weapon also has a special evade shot that lets you evade with a Slinger burst by pressing the L2 left shoulder trigger after doing an attack with the triangle or Y button. It also has a special Clutch Claw maneuver when you're in demon mode. It requires you to do a double round slash and then hit the L2 left shoulder trigger to shoot your Clutch Claw. If it grapples a monster successfully, you can press the triangle or Y button to do a spinning rising slash, which acts like a Clutch Claw mounted attack. Now it's time for the favorite weapon of the makers of Tylenol, the hammer. Can't touch this. Man, talk about a dated reference. Now, like the greatsword, the hammer benefits from using Slinger ammo to buy time, this time so you can charge your hammer. So just start charging, then use the Slinger to potentially flinch a monster, and then as long as you keep holding down the charge button, your charge will continue. It also gets a Clutch Claw auto-mounting mechanic like the dual blades that you can use mid-combo. This time you'll need to do a move like the charged upswing 1 or 2, hit the L2 left shoulder trigger, and then you'll do this cool mounting sequence with the claw. You can then proceed to use whatever Clutch Claw mechanic that's suitable for the occasion. Next is an underrated weapon that's also one of my favorites, the Doot Doot Club, also known as the Hunting Horn. Anyway, here is the Hunting Horn's Clutch Claw mounting attack. Unfortunately, the Hunting Horn doesn't seem to have a special Slinger or Clutch Claw mechanic added. I would have loved it, for example, if the horn got a similar move to the greatsword and hammer, where you can fire a Slinger burst while playing notes. That way you can flinch a monster and more easily do an encore. This would probably encourage more aggressive horn playing next to a monster, as opposed to people running along and dooting at a far-off corner somewhere. It does get a neat mechanic with echo bubbles though. Basically, by hitting the L2 left shoulder trigger after attacking, you will do an echo attack which places an echo mark on the music sheet. This allows you to trigger echo bubbles with special effects, like that cool healing bubble you see in the Iceborne preview videos. Next is another of my favorite weapons, the Pokey Pokey Stick. Anyway, here is the Clutch Claw mounting attack for the lance. Now, the Lance's unique Slinger and Clutch Claw mechanics are based on its new guard shot move. Basically, holding the L2 left shoulder trigger lets you perform a special guard called Guard Shot. In addition to raising your guard proficiency, this also lets you safely fire a Slinger burst with the R2 right shoulder trigger. Clicking down on the right analog stick will also let you switch to regular Slinger ammo shots. If you enter guard shot and press the circle or B button instead, you will also enter a counter claw stance. This drains stamina but will automatically cause you to counter an enemy with a clutch claw grapple if it attacks you. You also get a brief period of invincibility where you can't be knocked away between the counter and the grapple. Next is the Boom Boom Stick, the Gunlance. Here is its special clutch claw mounting attack, which lets the monster drop ammo. Why this is considered a light weapon while the lance is considered a heavy weapon is beyond me, but I'm not going to argue with Monster Hunter physics. It does get a pretty neat feature that uses Slinger ammo. This new move is called the Wormstick Blast, which attaches a probe on the monster by using up all your Slinger ammo. My gosh, if certain folks had fun using the Wormstick cannon up a monster's butt, you can just imagine all the shenanigans that can unfold with this new addition. The Hunter notes say that this Wormstick Blast can change depending on the amount and type of Slinger ammo loaded. Once you've got the probe stuck up wherever, you can make it explode via shelling. Personally, I like using Wyvern's Fire on it. If you've ever had an accident involving flaming hot Cheetos, this is probably what it feels like for a monster. Now it's time for some swag. Here's the special Clutch Claw mounting attack for the Switch Axe.
The Switch Axe has two forms, axe and sword. You can power up the sword attacks by injecting them with file energy.
Now it's quite obvious that the devs want players to use the axe mode more, based on the Slinger mechanics that they added. One involves doing a wild swing by pressing the circle or B button in axe mode, and then the L2 left shoulder trigger. This will then cause you to do a step back Slinger burst. Press the R2 right shoulder trigger after that, and you will do a cool looking morph sweep with the axe. By the way, if you press triangle or Y after a couple of wild swings instead, you will do a heavy slam. This will actually put axe mode in a powered up charge state that makes it easier to flinch monsters. This one's actually pretty cool. Last but not least is the guard point switcheroony itself, the Charge Blade. Don't tase me, bro. Well, don't SAED me, bro. That would probably be more appropriate. Anyway, here is its Clutch Claw mounting attack. The weapon also gets a new Slinger counter. Basically, you'll need to guard an enemy attack, then press the L2 left shoulder trigger after getting hit while blocking, and then you will fire a Slinger burst. Note that you won't be able to do the Slinger burst counter if you're knocked back too much during your block. As such, it's a good idea if you either charge your shield with files or invest in some guard skills. Anyway, that's my rundown of the new training area and the new Slinger and Clutch Claw mechanics for all weapons. So what do you think of these new additions to Monster Hunter World Iceborne? As always, please feel free to leave any thoughts or questions you may have in the comment section. Once again, this is Tabi Asobi, and thank you for watching.